Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. Depends on your time and your location. This is one of your own Biafra TV, bringing you the historical life histories and things that we need to know, or things that we need to let the world know that is happening, why our leaders are in the prisons, and why the world need to understand that for them to be in the prison is not end of the road. And also to let the world understand that those who ever first asked of Nigeria's suppression are not in the prison. They are all living their life. They are all okay today. But we, as the people of Biafra, are the one who the world keeps silent for Nigeria to take us away according to the initial plan. They have already been mapped out by themselves. So we want to remind the world to know exactly that what we are asking for today is what has happened, what started before, not with us. That is why we are here this evening to give America and Israel a message why they have to support United State of Biafra at this time. But for today's program, we want to prove to the world that we, people of Biafra, are not the first people that started the movement that Nigeria must be separated. The so-called founding fathers of Nigeria lead the movement. So that is why we want to let America know that what we are asking today, or what the Biafran people are doing today, is what started before, that we are not the first people. And when the northern region asked to divide Nigeria after the amalgamation of 1914, in 1953, a group from the north, that their leader is Ahmad Bello, lead a movement that they don't want to remain as one country called Nigeria. When they started their own, nobody arrested them, nobody killed them, nobody tortured them, nobody arrested them, nobody tagged them terrorists, and nobody tried to destroy all of them. To compare to what the Biafran people is passing through today. In the 1953, the northern region, their leader, Ahmed Bello, started a movement that Nigeria must be divided, that under the colonial power of Great Britain in 1953, that they don't want a one Nigeria as a country, that they want to see out of Nigeria, they want to remain on their own. But what happened? When Chukwuemeka Odumegwu started asking for Biafran people to have their own country because of the killings and the marginalization of what metamorphosed what we are seeing today, it leads to genocidal war that the world never talk about it today. That is why I tag America, Israel, and Canada, those that are faithful countries, I can say so, to understand that the people of United States of Biafra citizens, that we are not the first people that started this movement. That those who started this movement to divide Nigeria was the North in question. Why is it that now that the people of Biafra or Old Eastern region agree that let Nigeria be divided, why did they determine and America, Israel are still somehow keeping quite silent, that leads to the kidnapping of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, leads to the arrest of our Prime Simon in Finland, and the world keeps silent? Why did those that lead this movement in 1953, that none of them was arrested, is the question we want to find out. And we also want to prove to the world that the people of Biafra, Old Eastern region, through Chukwuemeka Odumegwu, to Mazi, to Owazurike, to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, to Simon Ekpa, was not the first people that have ever asked that Nigeria should be divided. Those who are today championing that the territorial integrity of Nigeria must be protected are the ones that started the movement. They call not America, Israel, Canada, and the other countries in the world. I just want everybody, to all of us at the Biafran, to know that we are not the first. It's a hard time we go down to the root of Nigeria to bring everything how it started out. So the only thing I want to do for me, as you join me, is to like and share the program, please. Is for you to like and share the program. That is one of the most important things you can do for me or for this program, that I will share it so much, because I want this message to go viral. Please. Please. I see you, Joshua. You are the first person today, and Joshua is like you're a new person on this page. Yes. I see official AJ. One name Madu Kerukime. I hope you are good. Joshua, watching from wow. Thank you so much. Up to now, you're still awake. Yes, this is where I do on this page only historical things to educate myself in a little capacity, to also educate Biafrans who want to listen to it. Because I find it very important that we must bring out the history of Nigeria out. So let the world understand that what we are doing today, that we are not the first who started it. Neither are we going to be the last people that we end it up. No. If in the after the amalgamation of 1914, in 1953, the northern region want a separate Nigeria. They don't want to be among the amalgamation of 1914. They lead their movement through their leader, Ahmed Bello, to separate Nigeria. That's for them, that the northern region never wants to be among what happened. When the British called them in meeting in London, and they give them explanation that if they try to remain, if they try to pull out from Nigeria, that the North will enter into a landlock. What happened? They turn back. So like I said, this is the little preamble I want to make this evening, or this month, depending on your allocation, as we go in to read the document of how Nigeria, the Northerners, in 1953 called for separation from Nigeria. The most important part that we must understand is that among these men of the northern region, who wants Nigeria to be divided, none of them was arrested. They never tagged them terrorists. They never arrested their leaders, and they did not arrest anybody. They went out on the street. They ran protests on the street. They proved that they want Nigeria to be divided in 1953. This program will take us time, day to day, before we can finish it up. Why they want Nigeria to be divided. And that particular one thing that's lead them to ask that Nigeria should be divided is what is still happening today. But it's only that when they went in, that is why the British handed them over Nigeria to. Because of what? Because they have explained to them and promised them for they want to use them to Islamize or to intimidate the people of old Eastern region, that they should not pull out. That they are going to form Nigeria in a way that any profit that is coming out from old Eastern region there will be the one in control of that country called Nigeria. That we want to hand Nigeria over to you. So after the explanation, they do understand. So like I said, I greet all of you. I see you, my brother. I see you. My mommy blessing. Good evening from here. Devi, Divine, good evening from here. Chibos or Ede, good evening from here. Chido Emmanuel, I can see good evening from here. Chido Emmanuel, it has been long, but we are here today because our time differences, even Emmanuel, even the Chibos or Ede also. But I greet all of you on the comment section. So please just like and share the program to invite more people to come. What we are doing, we need to bring things that we let the world understand that only solution, that what they call a mistake of the amalgamation of 1914, that nobody should answer in Nigeria, which is a solution to the killings, to the genocide, to the massacre that is going on in that mistake country called Nigeria today. But let us go indirect, like I said, my people. So we want to start to prove to you that whatever they call is secession, separatists, to divide Nigeria, that we, the people of old Eastern region, that transition into Biafra, we are not the first. I stated it in the earlier days of that after the amalgamation. So let us see. You are right. Thank you. So I'm not making mouth. Let us hear the story, what transpired, and who is the leader of this particular movement of to separate Nigeria in 1953.
The northern region's formal move towards secession primarily occurred in 1953, and the leader who spearheaded this movement was Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardona of Sokoto.
Please, 1 minute. Yes. So we are good to go.
While there were several moments of tension, the 1953 crisis is historically recognized as the first time the North legally and publicly moved to break away from the Nigerian Union. The leader, Sir Ahmadu Bello, was the premier of the northern region and the leader of the Northern People's Congress, NPC. He was the most powerful political figure in the North and was deeply concerned that a unified Nigeria would lead to southern domination because of the educational and administrative gap between the regions. The key events of 1953. The movement for secession, often called the Arabist sentiment, was triggered by a specific event in the House of Representatives. 1. The self-government motion. Southern leader Anthony Anahoro moved a motion for Nigeria to gain independence in 1956. 2. The Northern Amendment, Ahmadu Bello and other northern leaders amended it to say independence should come as soon as practicable, fearing the north wasn't ready. 3. The humiliation. Northern members were booed and insulted by mobs in Lagos. Ahmadu Bello famously stated, "The mistake of 1914 has come to light," referring to the British amalgamation of the North and South. 4. The 8-Point Program. In May 1953, the Northern House of Assembly passed a resolution known as the 8-Point Program. This was essentially a declaration of secession in all but name. It demanded complete executive and legislative autonomy for the North, a central authority that handled only common services like railways and the post office. No central cabinet or ministers with power over the North. Summary table. Key detail. Information. Primary year, 1953. Lead figure, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardana of Sokoto. Movement name, Araba. Hausa for separate. Legal document, the 8-Point Program. Second peak, 1966, following the January coup and during the July counter-coup. The 1966 resurgence. It is also worth noting that in July 1966, Northern soldiers and leaders again pushed for secession following the first military coup. The slogan of the July counter-coup was Araba, and the original plan was to pull the North out of Nigeria. However, they were eventually persuaded to stay after realizing the economic disadvantages of being a landlocked nation without the emerging oil wealth of the South. Would you like to look at the specific language of the 8-Point Program to see how it aligns with modern concepts of sovereignty or confederation?
I hope you followed. Christy Biafra's son, thank you so much. I see you. You're welcome. You told our people to like and share the program. Thank you so much for that. Do you see when this issue of to divide Nigeria started? The question is he an Igbo man? Is he from the old Eastern region that the discussion or the protest or whatever that leads to Nigeria to be divided, that is the main key today? Why Mazdan Kano is in the prison and why Samba is in the prison also? Is it we, as the people of old Eastern region? I want to continue using that word first. Is it we from the people of old Eastern region? Are we the one in this 1953 that lead protests, a movement that Nigeria should be separated? Are we? Are we the one who started that Nigeria should be divided? And why did those that started this movement, why are they not in prison? Why none of them and their people was arrested, put in prison? Because it sounds to look like we are the first people. You know how they hide all these documents? They laid them down. Remember, in 1914 was the amalgamated. In 1956, the Northerners region start asking for so that Nigeria should be what? Should be divided. Separation. Separatists. Why is that what they started when it was not favoring them? That now it's not favoring the people of Biafra. That it can never favor us at all. Why is that they want to buy all of us? Whereas in the history of 1953, that nobody was arrested, nobody was put to prison, nobody was killed, no attack, no tear gas on those that are protesting in 1953 by the northern region. And that was not the first time. Before the 1967 Biafran War, in 1966, they added it again, that Nigeria must be divided, that they must left north out of the so-called amalgamation of Nigeria that they don't want. But today, they are the one that are championing one Nigeria because the British has handed Nigeria over to them. Now it favors them. It's no longer a problem. But when it was never favored them, it's a problem. These are why we want to bring every hidden secret out. Oloshiwa God, I greet you. I remove my cap for good evening from here. I hope you are good. Thank you so much for coming. Please hit the like button and share. We are moving in. We want to do the part of this particular northern leading the movement of separatists. Easy, happy Sunday. Thank you so much. I wish you the best, my brother. Thank you. So, I want us to understand that that's how it was being addressed. The northern region was the first people for the first time, for the second time. The first one was 1953, asked that Nigeria should be divided. Have you heard it before in the history? That North was the first to call for Nigeria to be divided in 1953. In 1966, the same North to call again that Nigeria should be divided. Only for the first time, the Biafran people were asking in 1960, 1967, that we should go. Before then, the British had told the North why they don't need to leave, why they don't have to call for separatists of Nigeria or to divide Nigeria. Listen to this history again, because there is a way we are going this night.
The northern region's formal move towards secession primarily occurred in 1953, and the leader who spearheaded this movement was Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardona of Sokoto. While there were several moments of tension, the 1953 crisis is historically recognized as the first time the North legally and publicly moved to break away from the Nigerian Union. The leader, Sir Ahmadu Bello, was the premier of the northern region and the leader of the Northern People's Congress, NPC. He was the most powerful political figure in the north and was deeply concerned that a unified Nigeria would lead to southern domination because of the educational and administrative gap between the regions. The key events of 1953. The movement for secession, often called the Araba sentiment, was triggered by a specific event in the House of Representatives. 1. The self-government motion. Southern leader Anthony Anahoro moved a motion for Nigeria to gain independence in 1956. 2. The Northern Amendment. Ahmadu Bello and other northern leaders amended it to say independence should come as soon as practicable, fearing the North wasn't ready. 3. The humiliation. Northern members were booed and insulted by mobs in Lagos. Ahmadu Bello famously stated, "The mistake of 1914 has come to light," referring to the British amalgamation of the North and South. 4. The 8-point program. In May 1953, the Northern House of Assembly passed a resolution known as the 8-point program. This was essentially a declaration of secession in all but name. It demanded complete executive and legislative autonomy for the North, a central authority that handled only common services like railways and the post office. No central cabinet or ministers with power over the North. Summary table. Key detail. Information. Primary year, 1953. Lead figure, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardana of Sokoto. Movement name, Araba. Hausa for separate. Legal document, the 8-point program. Second peak, 1966, following the January coup and during the July counter-coup. The 1966 resurgence. It is also worth noting that in July 1966, Northern soldiers and leaders again pushed for secession following the first military coup. The slogan of the July counter-coup was Araba, and the original plan was to pull the North out of Nigeria. However, they were eventually persuaded to stay after realizing the economic disadvantages of being a landlocked nation without the emerging oil wealth of the South. Would you like to look at the specific language of the 8-point program to see how it aligns with modern concepts of sovereignty or confederation?
Why we want America to know that this mistake of a country called Nigeria, now their intention of having Nigeria as a country is to attack Israel and America. That is why the Nigerian government and their Protestants of the Islamic agenda put the flag of America and Israel on the ground and be calling for the death of America and the death of Israel. They are shouting, "Die America, die America, die Israel." And you know what it means for a flag of a sovereignty. Until America and Israel understand that what was the mistake of British must be corrected in this 2026 by dividing Nigeria with immediate effect. With immediate effect, to divide Nigeria is the only solution. The founding fathers, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ahmed Bello, all of them, there are about 4 of them who are the founding fathers of Nigeria. They all said that Nigeria is a mere geographical expression, that is not a country, that is a mistake by British. And the father says that if their 4 children, if their children refuse to adhere to the instruction to divide Nigeria, that Somalia will be better than Nigeria. Today, Somalia, is it not better than Nigeria? If I may ask. That is why we are calling America, we are calling on Israel and Canada. These 3 countries, you are like a Christian countries. And you see what your fellow Christians are facing. I want you to know, if you have taken your time to study what is going on in the world, the Third World War is about to happen. It's about religion. It's about religion. People will defend their people with the same faith. Then people that their faith is somehow shaken will join anyone they like. If America refuses to know that Biafra as a country is a blessing to America and Israel, when it happens, some they have believed that with them right now, an attack will come in the nearest future. Israel and America and Canada and some Christian countries, Australia's in the world, they will cry, had I not last. And that the same mistake of the amalgamation is the same mistake that America and their congressmen and Israel are making today. What do I mean? If America and Israel refuse to adhere to divide Nigeria this year, it's going to be worst. There is many map out attack on Donald Trump and Netanyahu. Donald Trump, the question should be, if you're not in the power, if Netanyahu are not in the power, what will be the fate of the world that God has put 2 of you to unify the Christians and back them up with the important equipment that if anybody does it, that it will go well instead of going wrong. They already mapped out that they want to wipe away Israel. Wiping away Israel is wiping away America. Wiping away America is wiping away Israel and also the entire Christians in the world. The power, the life of the Christians are in the hands of this President Donald Trump and Netanyahu. If they refuse to rally around the people of the Christians, Jewish, Judaism, the problem that is coming is bigger than only what America and Israel can solve. They might solve it to prevent their own territory, but at last, every other country Christians will be vanished. Protect your own, America. Israel, protect your own. The actions of the Parliament of Israel must continue to vote for Biafra as a country, to help you out, to remember our Prime Minister believed and trusted Israel. In the war between Hamas and Israel, he told you if you need a foot soldier, that the Biafran people will volunteer to give it to you, even to America. That is why this mistake of a country called Nigeria that are killing, because the mistake is what is killing the people by accepting other by force, gun and bullet through America, that Nigeria should be a country. If Nigeria ends today, or if the Biafran people have their totally recognition from 2 of you, you have solved the 99% jihadist Islamization movement, because Nigeria is a safe haven for all of them to attack America in the future, to attack Israel and all the Christian country, to make sure that they Islamize us the way that we never thought of it. We are calling on you, America. We are calling on Israel to understand the danger, the impending danger that is looming. See it beyond politics of the world and money business, or the way you're looking at it. It's beyond that. Check the history of the Nigeria so much, and you may find out that Nigeria has never meant well to any indigenous person who is not a core, who did not believe in Sharia and jihad. America, Israel, the overlong awaiting time that you kept your eyes closed on the truth that needed attention immediately is what is escalating more in Nigeria. The question is, if you wipe away these present terrorists, what of those that have given birth to? Because a lion must give birth to a lion. A dog must give birth to a dog. A snake must give birth to a snake. Remember from 1904 that this movement starts in Nigeria. And look at where it is today that draw your attention to put Nigeria on a country of particular concern. We are calling on all of you, America, Israel, Canada, to lead the movement of Biafran people having their own country, to protect every indigenous person who don't want to, who hate Islamization, and who never want to be Islamized. Failing to adhere to this instruction that was being given by the forefathers of Nigeria, the founding fathers of Nigeria as a country. Refusing to adhere to that instruction is what is happening today. America, you believe in a history, must repeat. So you need to go and check the history of Nigeria and what their founding fathers put on structure and what warning they said that this is a warning. Because of the gullibles and betrayers and those who think that it may work because of they have gained position on it, that is why people are dying every blessed day in large number. That is why the genocide going on. Pastor Ezekiel is calling every blessed day. He's here a pastor for only to bury the dead. That is why he's a pastor. America, people are going. And it must end. Because if you didn't end it quickly, it's going to affect you in the nearest future. That is one of the things that we need America to know, and for them to understand it clearly, that the time that you are, this delay that you are delaying is going to cost more harm than good. So my people, let us go. I see you, RB. I see you, Uche Ejiofor. I see James Chigozie, Ndinkem. Thank you so much. Please hit the like button as you join us. Hit the like button, please. Hit the like button. In the history of Nigeria as a country, the North was the first people and the second people who called for separation, who called that Nigeria should be divided. They call it the first one in 1953 and in 1966. The Chukwuemeka Odumegwu is not the first. Owazwike is not the first. Nnamdi Kanu is not the first. But the most painful part of this is that those from the northern region who formally, openly, publicly called to Nigeria to be separated, that none of them was attacked, none of them was arrested, none of them was in prison through that time, and none of them was tagged terrorist. I know that our people, the so-called the legitimate governors of Southeast and Old region, they are the one that are pushing that called us Mazen Nandekan and the name IPOB a terrorist group. Not from the north. We don't have power to do that. We know. But our message is that this long waiting of America, this long waiting of Israel, Canada, and every Christian state in the world, your eyes closing on the issue of what is happening in your fellow Christians in Nigeria is in fact, it's unbearable. We are letting you to know that what they called in 1953 that refused to give attention leads into 1966 before the Biafran War 1967 is evidence that these people are not one country. It must be divide. It must be break. If they know today who are champions that Nigeria should not be divided, if they, because of that time, they think that Nigeria will not favor them, that they are not favorable with Nigeria, that name, as one country, they ask for separation movement. They ask for it, and they continuously, in 1953 to 1966, then why our own on this time around becomes a crime? Why is it a crime? Now, the northern region formally moved towards secession, primarily occurred in 1953, and the leader who pushed this movement was Sir Ahmed Bello, the Sultan of Sokoto. The divide of Nigeria started the same Sokoto, where they caged Mazen Nandekan, who asked what their Sultan of Sokoto asked in 1953, and he pushed for it in this 1953. He is the one who pushed for that Nigeria to be separated in 1953. Today, a man who on the same line, on the same page of what Ahmed Bello pushed for is incarceration. They sentenced him life imprisonment in the same Sokoto where the movement of separation started. That is why we know that the separation started in Sokoto and it will end. Mazen Kano, we end the separation by Biafra as with a flag as a country in his hand, which we already give him. We only want him to know that we have given you the flag, that you are a hero, that in our own time, that you, what Ahmed Bello started, that you are the one to conclude it all. It must start from Sokoto, because you said it in one of your brokers that the separation of Nigeria started in Sokoto and it will end in Sokoto. On that program I listened is what makes me to research on which year did the Northerners ask for the separation movement, and how many times? 2 times. 1953, 1966 is here for us to see. Why there were several movements of transition or treason. The 1953 crisis is a historical recognized as the first time the North legally and publicly moved to break away from the Nigeria Union. Look at the document I'm reading here. You can see it from here, if you can. Look at it here. This is a history. This is a document that was keeping sight on the ground, like it was being buried. But something leads to this document to be out so that we all can see it. So we want to let the world or the Nigeria to know, if Sir Ahmed Bello was not in prison, or he was not arrested for the first time, when he started the movement, when he was the first person who started protests publicly to the world that they don't want Nigeria as a country. Why there were several movements of transition. The 1953 crisis is historically recognized as the first time the North legally and publicly moved to break away from Nigeria Union. You see this union, they are telling you today that it can never be separated. They are the one who started it. As we are going, then you will understand why the North call for separation from Nigeria. They want to break away from Nigeria as a country. They don't want to be among. But the question should be, why today? Why are they the one who are championing that Nigeria should never be divided? Because today, the Nigeria is in their hand, and it has favored them with the line that the British to and give them the power that they are the owner of Nigeria. That is why they don't shout. That is why they told today that whether the whole citizens wipe away, that name Nigeria must continue. But we have come, and we have already put an end to it by our peaceful declaration, November 29, 2024. That is when we end it up. And we must do it. Holding Nnamdi Kanu, holding Simon Ebanjoko could not stop it. If you never knew, know it. It's going to take us time for recognition, but we have done the 21st century criteria for us to become a nation, whether I like it or not. A nation is all about when you accept that you are a nation and address yourself as a nation. That is when you become a nation. And they said, it doesn't matter what people are saying. What matters is the name you give yourself and how you represent yourself out there. Is how you present yourself out there is what matters so much. That is truth. I want us to understand. I hope you're listening. Let me allow you to play again.
The northern region's formal move towards secession primarily occurred in 1953, and the leader who spearheaded this movement was Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardona of Sokoto. While there were several moments of tension, the 1953 crisis is historically recognized as the first time the North legally and publicly moved to break away from the Nigerian Union.
They went for it legally, publicly. What is publicly? Protest. They protest that they want to break away from Nigeria Union. They don't want. They are the first people ever call for Nigeria to be separated because of what is happening today. They saw it, but because of we as the people refuse to traject towards that, that is why the problem that we are facing today, we are facing it. If we have joined them, then this problem of Mazen Kano being in prison and all the things that are going on in Biafra land and all this military Amotanka could have not been there. But in Igbo adage, they do say, Mbo is a turn about to. Anytime you wake up becomes your money. That is why Chukwu Emeka woke up in 1967. After that, Waziri wake up and he denied the movement. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu wake up and never allowed to be intimidated or to be bribed or to stop the movement, like Sonny Boho, who is not a man for freedom. Now he's a member of APC. Remember that the Biafran people, we did not start this separatist movement in Nigeria. That today, all over Nigeria, all the thing is Igbo started it. We are not the one. We are not the first people that started the separatist movement in Nigeria. The 1953 movement from the Sir Ahmed Bello, the Sultan of Sokoto. These are the people that started the movement to suppress Nigeria, for them to for the union of one Nigeria to be break. That 1953 wasn't enough. Let us go further, so you will hear another time they started the movement. After the 1953, you hear another one. Let us continue, my people.
The leader, Sir Ahmadu Bello,
Sir Ahmed Bello was the one who championed the breakaway of the northern region from Nigeria. Then what happened today is the question. That is why America must know that this is not a country, and we are going to get into the extent of why all of them, the founding fathers of Nigeria, said that this is a totally mistake, that they are giving their children the power to divide Nigeria in the future, that if they refuse to adhere to that instruction, that's what we are passing today will happen. When a founding, your forefather rejects his name, are you going to keep it? Because of people people are by forcing to keep what they are not. They send them to us that Nigeria is just a mere geographical expression of a white man. The one that should be separated. After the so-called independence that is not true of the 1960 independence, which is a pure lie. They all know. Those, the Fulanese, the jihadis, the Sharia law movement in Nigeria is the only one who are championing because of they are in control of Nigeria economy and everything is in their hand. But this is how a country is being run. We are calling America to understand that this year over long time waiting to divide and destroy. If those who want as one Nigeria should go and answer, those who never want, like the Biafran people, to maintain that the original structure of from the founding fathers, who after they have become the prime minister, the president, the whatever, they continue to say that the only option is to divide this mere geographical area. That is one thing that we all must understand in this 21st century. The delay America, Israel, and Canada is delaying is costing life of people so much in Nigeria. Sir Ahmed Bello was the prime of the Northern region and the leader of the Northern People's Congress, NPC. He was the most powerful political figure in the North and was deeply concerned that the ununified Nigeria would lead to Southern domination because of the education and the administrative gap between the region. Hope you are hearing. Do you see why they called that Nigeria, that the Northerners want to separate away from Nigeria? They won't break away. Because they are afraid that what we are seeing today, the education, the civilization, and the administrative gap between the North, their own was so low. Now, when British finally handed them over, they used that their low mentality today to drag it down, to prove it's not a country either. Because countries are moving forward, but this one are moving backward. Because from the origin of the life, they are backward people. Why this program that we need to share and like is that let the world know that what can never be can never be. What can never be can never, no matter how you patch it. Once a cloth starts tearing and you continue patching at a time, those patch area we make up together and pull out together. You know that Nigeria is a patch country. They have patched it for a long time. The tailor is very tiring. The tailor doesn't know where he will put hand to patch again. So The old patch area, all of them has pulled out. This patch country called Nigeria, the patch has been expired. The patch of all the wounds, of all the tears from the clothes is no longer in existence. The tailor cannot be able to sew it. Nobody will manage Nigeria as a country. The only thing needed is what? What Sir Ahmed Bello lead or champion in 1953 and again in 1966. That is what we end this, what we are passing through today. I want you to follow on this. Because of what? Let us know when this thing started. And let the world understand why we are passing through what we're passing through today. Why that the only to divide, break Nigeria is the only solution to end the nearest attack to America, Israel. Because Israel, you can see today that anything happens in Nigeria today, any action you take, Nigeria come against you, their citizens. Their government is protecting them. Do you see them tearing gas to them and chasing them away from that? Rather, they give them security of the so-called Nigeria to guide and protect them. So for how long are you going to keep quiet? For how long are you going to look at it and remove your face that you do not understand that separating Nigeria, now that the people of Biafra has give you the mandate, now that we have give you the power, legally, you call it extra remedial secession, no longer internal. So now that we have give you by our peaceful declaration to maintain or to prove that we have accepted the 21st century law through a peaceful declaration, a new nation will emerge, proving remedial secession, external, no longer internal. Because you said, without a declaration that the matter remains internal, but with a peaceful declaration, it moves toward to external, where we have give you right to give Biafra recognition, and we can help to quench all what is going on. America, how many countries are you taking care of in the world? The more you do, the more you create more enemy. The more those who are friends leave you and walk away from you either. If you are now here with Israel, Russia is not supporting you. China is not supporting you. When you tamper Nigeria, where the Northerners, where the Chinas are mining the gold, where Nigeria and the Turkey and Iran was the one sponsoring all this happening in Nigeria before, and happening in Nigeria right now, they will all come and unite together and come against you. The only people you have is the people of Biafra that will support. We have the same heart you have. We can do the way you are doing it. We want to everywhere to be peaceful. That is why we have adhered to the instructions, the protocol, the laws of the 21st century says that through a peaceful declaration that the people can have their nation. We have done that November 29, 2024 in Helsinki, Lahti, Finland. We have generated all the documents you needed for you to adhere to the instructions of the forefathers of Nigeria, and for we as the people have our own freedom to help you to fight your enemies. Because in Biafra, the enemies of America, the enemies of Israel will be the Biafran's enemy. That is a pure truth. We are calling on America to adhere to the instruction. Please, my people, I will be playing the document repeatedly. Then after that, I will be back because I want to attend to something. Here, something is going on.
Amadou Bello was the premier of the Northern Region and the leader of the Northern People's Congress, NPC. He was the most powerful political figure in the North and was deeply concerned that a unified Nigeria would lead to southern domination because of the educational and administrative gap between the regions. The key events of 1953. The movement for secession, often called the Araba sentiment, was triggered by a specific event in the House of Representatives. 1. The self-government motion. Southern leader Anthony Anahoro moved a motion for Nigeria to gain independence in 1956. 2. The Northern Amendment. Ahmadu Bello and other northern leaders amended it to say independence should come as soon as practicable, fearing the North wasn't ready. 3. The humiliation. Northern members were booed and insulted by mobs in Lagos. Ahmadu Bello famously stated, "The mistake of 1914 has come to light," referring to the British amalgamation of the North and South. 4. The 8-Point Programme. In May 1953, the Northern House of Assembly passed a resolution known as the 8-Point Programme. This was essentially a declaration of secession in all but name. It demanded complete executive and legislative autonomy for the North, a central authority that handled only common services like railways and the post office, no central cabinet or ministers with power over the North. Summary table. Key detail. Information. Primary year, 1953. Lead figure, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto. Movement name, Araba. Hausa for separate. Legal document, the 8-Point Programme. Second peak, 1966, following the January coup and during the July counter-coup. The 1966 resurgence. It is also worth noting that in July 1966, Northern soldiers and leaders again pushed for secession following the first military coup. The slogan of the July counter-coup was Araba, and the original plan was to pull the North out of Nigeria. However, they were eventually persuaded to stay after realizing the economic disadvantages of being a landlocked nation without the emerging oil wealth of the South. Would you like to look at the specific language of the 8-Point Programme to see how it aligns with modern concepts of sovereignty or confederation? The northern region's formal move towards secession primarily occurred in 1953, and the leader who spearheaded this movement was Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto. While there were several moments of tension, the 1953 crisis is historically recognized as the first time the North legally and publicly moved to break away from the Nigerian Union. The leader, Sir Ahmadu Bello. Sir Ahmadu Bello was the premier of the northern region and the leader of the Northern People's Congress, NPC. He was the most powerful political figure in the North and was deeply concerned that a unified Nigeria would lead to southern domination because of the educational and administrative gap between the regions. The key events of 1953. The movement for secession, often called the Araba sentiment, was triggered by a specific event in the House of Representatives. 1. The self-government motion. Southern leader Anthony Anahoro moved a motion for Nigeria to gain independence in 1956. 2. The Northern Amendment. Ahmadu Bello and other northern leaders amended it to say independence should come as soon as practicable, fearing the North wasn't ready. 3. The humiliation. Northern members were booed and insulted by mobs in Lagos. Ahmadu Bello famously stated, "The mistake of 1914 has come to light," referring to the British amalgamation of the North and South. 4. The 8-Point Programme. In May 1953, the Northern House of Assembly passed a resolution known as the 8-Point Programme. This was essentially a declaration of secession in all but name. It demanded complete executive and legislative autonomy for the North, a central authority that handled only common services like railways and the post office, no central cabinet or ministers with power over the North. Summary table. Key detail. Information. Primary year, 1953. Lead figure, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardauna of Sokoto. Movement name, Araba. Hausa for separate. Legal document, the 8-Point Programme. Second peak, 1966, following the January coup and during the July counter-coup. The 1966 resurgence. It is also worth noting that in July 1966, Northern soldiers and leaders again pushed for secession following the first military coup. The slogan of the July counter-coup was Araba, and the original plan was to pull the North out of Nigeria. However, they were eventually persuaded to stay after realizing the economic disadvantages of being a landlocked nation without the emerging oil wealth of the South. Would you like to look at the specific language of the 8-Point Programme to see how it aligns with modern concepts of sovereignty or confederation? The northern region's formal move towards secession primarily occurred in 1953, and the leader who spearheaded this movement was Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardona of Sokoto. While there were several moments of tension, the 1953 crisis is historically recognized as the first time the North legally and publicly moved to break away from the Nigerian Union. The leader, Sir Ahmadu Bello, was the premier of the Northern region and the leader of the Northern People's Congress, NPC. He was the most powerful political figure in the North and was deeply concerned that a unified Nigeria would lead to Southern domination because of the educational and administrative gap between the regions. The key events of 1953. The movement for secession, often called the Araba sentiment, was triggered by a specific event in the House of Representatives. 1. The self-government motion. Southern leader Anthony Anahoro moved a motion for Nigeria to gain independence in 1956. 2. The Northern Amendment. Ahmadu Bello and other Northern leaders amended it to say independence should come as soon as practicable, fearing the North wasn't ready. 3. The humiliation. Northern members were booed and insulted by mobs in Lagos. Ahmadu Bello famously stated, "The mistake of 1914 has come to light," referring to the British amalgamation of the North and South. 4. The 8-Point Programme. In May 1953, the Northern House of Assembly passed a resolution known as the 8-Point Programme. This was essentially a declaration of secession in all but name. It demanded complete executive and legislative autonomy for the North, a central authority that handled only common services like railways and the post office, no central cabinet or ministers with power over the North. Summary table. Key detail. Information. Primary year, 1953. Lead figure, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardana of Sokoto. Movement name, Araba. Hausa for separate. Legal document, the 8-Point Programme. Second peak, 1966, following the January coup and during the July counter-coup. The 1966 resurgence. It is also worth noting that in July 1966, Northern soldiers and leaders again pushed for secession following the first military coup. The slogan of the July counter-coup was Araba, and the original plan was to pull the North out of Nigeria. However, they were eventually persuaded to stay after realizing the economic disadvantages of being a landlocked nation without the emerging oil wealth of the South. Would you like to look at the specific language of the 8-Point Programme to see how it aligns with modern concepts of sovereignty or confederation?
Yeah, sorry, please. You know that this is Middle East. You know what is going on. That is all I can say for now. We have some, if we have a signal, we shake, then we come back. Sometimes they will come, but there must be a signal. So that's why I went out. I put on repeat so you can be listening to the history. So it can sink into your heart as I'm explaining it in details or in a common word that you will understand. Now remember where we are. We have now we are going to go to the key event of the 1953. The key event. The movement for secession, often called the Araba sentiment, was targeted by the specific event in the House of Representatives. The movement, to the extent they push it on in that Nigeria House of Representatives, that they see how serious they are. They are the one who started the issue of separation. And honestly, I will agree with them that time, that if that separation happens then, do you think that what we are passing through today, that we should passing through that? Do you think that if they succeeded breaking away, then what is happening today and what we are passing through today, we might not be passing through that? Because they are the problem. But as we are going, we may understand why they refuse to go. When the British advise them, lecture them, tell them that you are the owner of this country we are building. Those things, education, the instructive gap, and all what we are going to give you the power to control all of them. The economy in the old Eastern region will be using to pay debt in the north. The economy in the Biafra land should be used to build the north. And what happened? You hear it here. They now came back to stay. This is why we want America to understand that that Nigeria is not a country from day one. Nigeria is an old cloth that has been patched for so many decades. And this passion has gotten in a place that the tailor man cannot, or the tailor cannot put the machine to sew it again, because sewing it is causing more problem. Sewing it, there is no how the rope can enter, because you can't sew a particular junction 4 times. Nigeria has expired 4 times. And when something expires, it may kill. When you take anything that expired, it has a side effect. Some the outside effect of expiring things leads to death. That is why that Nigeria expired leading is why it leads to death. Nigeria expired is why you are seeing genocide. Nigeria expired is why you are seeing flag of a whole America and Israel on the ground, marching by women and be singing, their men will be singing, America die, 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 Israel die, die, die. Nigeria has expired in a way that there is no militarism. America. Nigeria is not a country. Nigeria is not supposed to count among the so-called territorial integrity, because there is not. Where the problem America refuse to understand is why that same Nigeria came up, because of oil in Biafra land. Nothing more than that. The amalgamation has expired. Expiring drugs leads to death. Expiring food leads to food poison. Nigeria is a poison. It's a food poison. That name Nigeria is a food poison. That is why it's poisoning all the indigenous people to wipe them away. So you want people to continue eating this food poison called Nigeria. And none of you today allows that this food poison name called Nigeria to enter into your countries anymore. Now, if you, America, Canada, Israel, prove that Nigeria is not a food poison, why do many of you, people of Nigeria, cannot enter easily to your countries? Because you don't want someone to come and spoil your country. Nigeria is a expired medication or food. The only remedy is not to eat the expired food or take expired medication. Because once you take, the outside effect is very dangerous. That is why we letting America, Israel, Canada to know that the only option now that you have designated Nigeria, the PDP, the APC as the terrorist party. It's just a statement on political correctness. It's supposed to say Nigeria has been declared as a terrorist country. That's what it is. And we don't need more deep explanation to understand it, because when you tag a leading party of a country terrorist, that means the country is a country of terrorists. That is why when America tagged Nigeria country of upon sign, what simply means is the same scenario. Let's continue. The self-government mentioned the southern leaders, and to the ECMOC move emotion for Nigeria to gain independence in 1956. Are you hearing it? From the southern area, their own is to move for Nigeria to become independence. Why those who see the danger that what is happening today is calling for separation, break away? The Southerners are calling that Nigeria should be one. In the question of that country called Nigeria, we and the Yoruba people, that was the one who wanted as a nation. You had it here, that the Northerners never want it as a nation. They want to break away. The Northern Ahmed Bello and the other Northern leaders arm it to see independence should come as soon as possible. fearing that the North was not ready. There was afraid the name of Nigeria. There was afraid Nigeria to become an independent country. Those that was afraid in 1953 was that today who are intimidating us and telling us that the Nigerian unity is not negotiable. Which Nigeria unity is that? Why there is no unity in 1953? And why is it today that Nigeria has a unity? When you were championing, protesting publicly, legally, went to House of Representatives to present your breakaway document, which I pull out. Is it not true from you? America should go down to the history of Nigeria. That is when they will find out why Biafra is the best option at this time. And we have given you the power to do that by maintaining the law 21st century, both the both the United Nations Charter, both EU, both AU, and both all the bodies that controls or that give guidelines how to build a new nation to have it, and that's what we have already accepted. We have accepted, let there be peace in the world by making a peaceful declaration. If the peace you want us to maintain is to be under one Nigeria, you are giving us a death sentence forever and ever. Once Nigeria remains as a country, once you are forcing the people of Biafra to remain, you have given us a death sentence in life. Because Nigeria, the other way around, means a death sentence. Nigeria in the other way around means what? Death sentence. That is why we don't want to accept it. That is why we are moving away. Please, I want you to like and share. Okay, if I see you. Wanko, I see you. Thank you so much. Okay, the Olu. Thank you so much. Onyangos, also good evening from here. If you are still here, thank you so much for being here. The world must know, and you who is championing one Nigeria today, who puts Mazen and the Cana is governors, the South Isrl, all this rubbish, the useless governors we have. When Sir Ahmed Bello is calling for a breakaway from Nigeria, it's not that this thing started. Those in the southern area are calling for Nigeria independence. This is where the problem started. If the people of southern regions was also championing breakaway, nobody should have answered Nigeria today. And everybody could have protected their citizens and the indigenous people. All this genocide could have not been there. Nobody should be buying anybody. In this way, they are buying people. Do not shaking even have respect in Nigeria today, more than human being. That is very important for us to know. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Simon Ebanjoko are here to accomplish what Sir Ahmed Bello started. They are here to accomplish it. So why are you putting them in prison? Why Sir Ahmed Bello and those who championed in 1953 to 1966 that Nigeria should break up, why do they not in the prison? Why did you not declare any of them terrorists? Why did you not sentence Sir Ahmed Bello to life imprisonment? Why? Omotosho, why? And it's your people that always champion one Nigeria. It's your people, Omotosho, the Yorubas. That is what they told us here, that the Southerners are the ones championing for independence of Nigeria. Why the Northerners are calling for breakup of the Union? They moved to the public areas. They moved to anywhere. They said legal and publicly. They did what? They want to end Nigeria as far back as 1953 to 1966. Then to enter into the queue that also to end Nigeria. Please, as you join, please hit the like button as you join us. If it's the first time coming, There is a 3 dot in front of you. Click on that 3 dot. You will see like and share. Hit the 3 dot so you will see like and share. Now, let's continue. Let's continue. The North said that they are not ready to answer one Nigeria. That they are not what ready to answer one Nigeria. The first number 3, the humiliation. The Northern members were boldly and insulted by the mob in Lagos. Ahmed Bello famously stated, the mistake of 1914 comes to light, referring to the British amalgamation of the amalgamation of the Northerner and the South, the North and the South, and why our own people are championing for one Nigeria. That is when, after what happened in Lagos State in 1953, and the man said, why we say that Nigeria is not a country has come to land like today, all that is happening is not evidence of what Ahmed Bello said in 1953. And also he said what? Again, he said in 1953 that Nigeria is a mistake. Creating Nigeria as a country is a mistake. And today, with all that is happening in Nigeria, America, can't you agree, firstly, Israel agree, firstly, that the name called Nigeria is a mistake, that is not supposed to be in existence? Can't you see on this document of the Northerners calling for breakaway from Nigeria in 1953, after the amalgamation of 1914? Because they have seen what is going on. They have managed to try to, that is why they told you that these people are not one people. They are different people, different ideology, with different cultures and many things. That with that reason or what is happening, that they are not one country, that the amalgamation is by mistake. You know that the British confused them. British told them that making within one Nigeria to be the best option. That is amalgamation will give you the right. When immediately they are not seeing what British promised them, what happened? They advocate in 1953 that the separatists break away from Nigeria is the best option for them. They went through legal, they went publicly, they went in the House of Representatives. They push to separate and to break away from Nigeria. What happened? Let's know why this is not happening on the movement. The 8-point program in May 1953, the Northern House of Assembly passed a resolution known as the 8-point program. This was extremely declaration of the secession in all but name its demands. In 1953, they went to the House of House of Assembly. They passed the bill of what? 8 points. In that 8 point, this was extremely the declaration of the secession in all but name its demands. That they demand what? Separation. They demand what? Separation is what they demand from. That they don't want to continue answering the name called One Nigeria. They push for it very hard. And look at it today. If Ahmed Bello was not in prison, was not tagged a terrorist group in then, why today that the people of Biafra, the IPB organization, was being tagged a terrorist group? Why do they tag a terrorist group is the question. Because they are coming from all distant region. What we did is to accomplish the mission, or to take on the instruction, on the mandate of the forefathers of the so-called founding Nigeria. That is why America must know that keeping Maznan Khan in the prison is a taboo. Finland keeping Simon Bai in prison is a taboo. But because of that one thing that never allows Northerners to break away, when British has finally lectured them and told them why you don't need to break away, Why you need to be in charge? Because being in charge, because you staying here, you will be the man in charge, and you will control those people that you are afraid through gun and bullets. Tell me, if we not a gun and bullets, what can the North put on the table today? What can the world present today if not gun and bullets that are seen that are running everywhere through Turkey that are sponsoring weapon in Nigeria to Islamize everybody, to Sharia law to be run everywhere? America, what happened? What is happening in Iran should be exact example for you to answer the Biafran people. Remember that Iran was never be under Sharia. Remember that. But today, what is happening? Why are you fighting? Do you want to come back in the next 5 years to fight? Because the Islamization agenda has been accomplished. They have all captured all the part of Nigeria. Why can't you put an end to it now? It is very simple. Then when you put, we can protect ourselves against this extremism that happening in Nigeria today. This is the American agenda. We can do it by ourselves. We can protect ourselves. Do you want it to go to the extent of Iran before you will understand that what we give you what we give you on November the 29th, 2024 was only the best solution and the everlasting solution to end the impunity, to end the genocide, to end the terrorism that is going on in Nigeria, to end insurgency, to end security alerts that you are seeing today, the danger, because Nigeria remains a time bomb to you, America and Israel. So with all this insult on your flag, you still remain silent. Can't you see, if their children was the one doing it, when do you think it's going to end? If their children are the one that are marching your flag, the age of 18 to 12 years are the one marching your flag. If you wipe their fathers away from the bush and they arrested all of them, what of those ones? Because a lion must give birth to a lion. That is why we are calling on you to know that the option and what you want us to give to you as people of Biafra, that we have given it to you by our peaceful declaration. That we have given it to you by our what? Our peaceful declaration. That is how we have given, and that is what you needed. It's no longer interfering into internal matter of Nigeria. It is external matter. And if you watch the South Africa Summit 2025, they make it openly. If you watch Adi Burkina Faso 2025, they make it openly. What else again are you waiting? And beside, we are the Christians like you. Can't you defend your own with all you have? Are you afraid of Israel? Are you afraid of Russia and China, who is mining an illegal gold in Nigeria, that are giving Turkey money to penalize this movement that is going on in Nigeria today? Before we go further, I have to play this video. Let's watch this video from my brother also, because he's always making points. Always. Let me get that video. I want to play the video to let America know why this is the only right time to Nigeria to be divided. This is the only right time to allow Biafran people to go, so we can end up all this ongoing genocide that is going on today. We are the only remedy. We are the only option. We are the solution, not a solution. We are the everlasting solution to end all that is going on right now. It is very, very important. One minute, my people. 1 minute. Listen to this. Then we'll connect it to what we are doing. Why America must know that the only solution is to divide Nigeria right now is the only solution.
This is the late evening of Sunday, March 8, 2026. Let's talk about how Turkey shipped loads of ammunition to Port Harcourt, Nigeria, and the weapons were intercepted at One Port. You know, I promise you I'll be bringing up little by little the countries that have been supplying the terrorists in Nigeria weapons, okay? At a time, I released the voice call that the Egyptian television published that Mustafa, who is a national security advisor to Erdogan, was making with the chief executive officer of the Turkish airline when they were shipping ammunition to Nigeria. I published it. You can go and check it on my YouTube channel. So that call, they were telling them where to drop the weapons in Nigeria. They were using the Turkish airline. They gave them instruction. The people they will use the weapons to kill the man was saying, if you use the weapon to kill the Muslims, it is a crime or it is a sin. So who are you going to use the weapons to kill? So they were giving very strict instruction about the delivery of the weapon. Thank God that it wasn't a Nigeria television or me or anybody that published it. It was still Egyptian television that exposed this thing. So today, let us look into how the Nigerian Customs Service intercepted 844 rifles, 112,500 rounds of ammunition in One. Now, I want you to look at this, okay? This is custom.gov.ng. This is not just a speculation or from any social media platform. This is from the website of Nigeria Customs Service. Go and verify it. So anything I'm telling you, just make sure you always go and verify it. Now, because of where this ammunition is coming from, do you know that this issue of weapon, if they probe it, meaning they did not publish the probe, they swept it under the carpet. Who owns the ammunition? The destination of the ammunition. The only thing we know is that this ammunition is coming from Turkey and it is heading to terrorists. That was the information that was available. Okay, so it was something that that time I think there were speculations whether the ammunition was supposed to be stored in one place. Why? So I don't want to speculate what other people are just putting up or what other people are thinking, because as far as I'm concerned, the only thing I know about the ammunition is that the Turkish government shipped it to terrorists and the Nigerian Customs Service intercepted it. They acknowledge what I'm saying now. They put it on their website so that generations to come will always come and visit it and knows the country who are always shipping ammunition to Nigeria. Don't forget that the same thing happened from Iran. It was intercepted and, you know, people were involved, they sued. Nigeria government sued them and so on and so forth. Up to today, they swept it under the carpet. It's so unfortunate. All right. Now, and let us just look into the details of the article that reported this. It reads that the Controller General Nigeria Customs.
There is things I want to understand. When I told here, I said here, America, that this in this world, present 21st century, that the Islamist agendas are supporting their own. They are doing what? Supporting their own. Turkey is where? They are not an Islamic country. They are the ones sponsoring from Turkey. They are shifting. China will pay money. They will shift money for all the things that are happening today. Because China is the one minding good in the north and some resources in the north. So they never want anything to happen. China is the one helping to create the more killings. All this ammunition that you are seeing today is by Turkey, and China are the ones sponsoring it. Nigeria is using their help. And why Turkey is doing that? Turkey is doing that to help their fellow Islam country. Turkey is doing this because of what? They want to help their fellow Islam country. That's why they are using them. If they did not capture them this time, and the small time in the Port Harcourt, in many areas of the Biafra land, and you see them coming with their weapon, you'll be thinking, does it fly from air? It did not fly from air. If their fellow country are supporting their own, that is why Israel and the world, America, must adhere to a word coming out from the NATO chairman that America should organize Biafra and support them to defend themselves. Defend your own. The most selfish group I have ever seen in this world is those who call themselves Christians. Their stupidity, their selfishness is too much. They don't support their own. Look at it, all of them supporting their own. As of 3 days ago, the Pakistan are in their parliaments are talking how they support Iran, their own. But when it comes to Christianity, they will be making peace that people did not need. The only time the peace we reign in this world is when Christianity act like these people to know that that thing you have, we have it. Please, everybody will be stay on their lane. Everybody, every country, whether you are Islam, whatever you call yourself Christian or whatever you may think, then you will stay on line, because when I have what you have, you know that if you come, I give it back to you, then you will dare not come. So this issue of peace from the Christianity world is enough. It's enough. It's a high time that the Christianity people have back up on their back. It's the high time that America and all the civilized Christian countries in the world support their own. You have seen that in Nigeria, the people of Biafra are not the first people who called for breakaway from Nigeria, that those that it was the North. And on this document, we will find out, you will hear why why they refuse for that breakaway, why they are not the one mentioning the breakaway again. We talk about, they will tell that his Nigeria unity is unnegotiable because of they are making the money, and because of those that are backing them up has lectured them why that they only when they are on the top and they agree on one Nigeria, they can Islamize everybody. Turkey in the first place is not a Muslim country, it's not an Islamic country. Iran is not an Islamic country. But today what is happening? And you think it's not possible. Why you are here praying and doing and it's happening. It's happening in our own time, and you are seeing it. That is how it happened in Iran today. The Christians running away, they are all in exile. At a time, you in Biafra land, who refuse to support Biafra movement under USB, that you will hear it by force. When you enter IGP camp, you will know. But you cannot enter because of the government of Biafra is doing everything to protect the Biafran territory. That is why you will not experience it. Believe you me, if I was Mazen Simon, I would have allowed people to taste it small. Because Nandi Bonabo, some many much, the Christians run when they have their heads about to cut off. That is when they will start running. That is when they will use their lives to defend themselves. But on this way we're into right now, they will not do that. They will not. You see them doing what they're supposed to do. Let us, as you listen to this, what is going on here that Turkey are supporting their own. Today, Nigeria from the northern area are supporting their own, their people in Iran. When the massacre happened in Benue, have you seen any Christian from any other state supporting them? Cry with them, or even the guests at home and said, we are mourning, we are present with our people they are killing in Benue State. No, they will remain silent. We are not learning. The Christianities are the worst people in this world. Their foolishness is overwhelming. America should not join in this foolishness. Israel should not join. It's a high time that you understand this is our own. We must protect our own. If we put a straight line by supporting, giving all the Christians country what they need, they will stand. And that is only when this agenda of Islamization will end. Everybody will stay according to their line. The world wants to put a draw line to end up this is going on. And it's in the hands of America, Donald Trump. That is why God will bring you and give you Netanyahu to carry this movement on. It's not only two of you that they are calling names in the world. You must know that the life of the future Christians lies in your hand, Donald Trump. If not for you, nobody will do it. If not Netanyahu, nobody will do it more than the way it is happening right now. That is why in this 26, you must accomplish all these missions. Biafra will be one of the most allies to you and Israel. And you know that you have a trusted brother in the hold in Africa again, because no country in Africa stand by you, America, fully support you. It's only Biafra. And that is why they never want Biafra as a country.
Service, Bashir Adeniyi has narrated how 844 units of assorted rifles, 1,112,500 pieces of live ammunition, among other contraband, were intercepted at the One Port, River State, Port Harcourt, South Nigeria. This is according to what they are reporting. Mr. Adeniyi narrated this on Monday at a media briefing at One Area 2 Command, organized to declare the seized items and hand them over to the appropriate authority. Based on intelligence sharing, a 40-footer container with number MOAEU 165396, which originated from Turkey, was tracked based on some risk factors associated with its importation. The container laden with rifles and ammunitions concealed in various items such as doors, furniture, and plumbing fittings was intercepted at a bonded terminal of the One Port on 21st of June 2024. This is just 2 years ago, 2024. Okay, it's not up to 2 years, a year and 8 months today.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm going back to history, I'm going back to all these videos.
Everybody is going back to
history. I want
history.
Nigerians to understand the people who are actually supporting terrorism in Nigeria.
Are you hearing it?
Because I raised their hand when Tinubu traveled to Turkey, that they want to share intelligence on military, share military intelligence with Turkey and so on and so forth. But I see it as a dangerous one, looking the fact that Turkey have been shipping weapons to terrorists.
Are you hearing it?
Through the land borders, through the sea. So why would you enter security agreement with such country if you don't have any ulterior motive? And what baffles me is that there is no available probe of these equipments in destination. Probe them, put them on the internet so that generations to come, like we that always do research, generations to come, we always see it on government website that so. And that's supposed to guide your decisions. However, I am not surprised. An administration who have been accused of funding terrorism and forming militia could have something hidden to do with Turkey, who are shipping weapons to terrorists. And Iran is not exempted. Iran was sued by the Nigerian government. I am saying this so that you know your enemies.
No.
I'm saying this so that you know involvement. If you have any other country, you have the proof, just as I'm presenting it to you. You have any other country that is supporting terrorism in Nigeria, you have the proof. Publish it. Don't speculate. I don't speculate. I don't say what I don't know. I talk based on verifiable fact. So that if I say anything, if I drop any video, you don't need to, it's not a rocket science. You don't need to start up and down to ask whether what I'm saying is true or not. In that your phone, you can take your phone, go ask AI. In fact, if you don't know how to search it on Google, go to AI, type in, the prompt will come out, and you see everything by yourself. And that is why we are doing what we are doing today. So that everything we are saying today will guide the decisions of people who are going to come after us.
Now, that is where I always come against my brother that is talking right now. If you are not ending up Nigeria, those that who will come will go into Islamization, and they will never hear this history. It will remain low. If you don't research, can you see it? It's because of your research on the side you focused. And I do my research on the side I focused. You research on the side you focused on, and I do my own side I focused on, until I build something that I decide that will bring your program or to share a thought with you. My brother, you are still on you are nowhere. You see, after all this exposition and all, and you are not championing Nigeria break up, you are not saying anything. And the only way you champion Nigeria break up now is through USB re-declared. You get it right in the eyes of the international community. Go and check about the research about a peaceful declaration of 21st century laws. Then you will understand why it is very imperative that the topic of use after ending should be Nigeria breakup, that America should organize USB as a country, then we can defend ourselves and protect every indigenous people who do not believe in this Islamization agenda. If Israel, if America will be in America and protecting Asia, some Middle East, what of we when we are very close? That is why we are letting America to know that the only way to end what is going on in Benua is Biafra as a country. Then we will protect them without wasting time. The hours you will fly and come in from here, see it, they will capture it and they will end it. That is why Biafra is the only solution to end all this. What Sir Ahmed Bello started, we are the one to end it up. We are the one to end it up. Breaking of Nigeria is the everlasting solution to end all that is going on today. Now we go back to our program. Yeah. Let us go back to our program.
The northern region's formal move towards secession primarily occurred in 1953, and the leader who spearheaded this movement was Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardona of Sokoto. While there were several moments of tension, the 1953 crisis is historically recognized as the first time the North legally and publicly moved to break away from the Nigerian Union. The leader, Sir Ahmadu Bello, was the premier of the northern region and the leader of the Northern People's Congress, NPC. He was the most powerful political figure in the north and was deeply concerned that a unified Nigeria would lead to southern domination because of the educational and administrative gap between the regions. The key events of 1953. The movement for secession, often called the Arabist sentiment, was triggered by a specific event in the House of Representatives. 1. The self-government motion. Southern leader Anthony Anahoro moved a motion for Nigeria to gain independence in 1956.
Do you even see that not even from the north to move the motion that Nigeria should gain independence? Because in their mind, they never want Nigeria as a country. In their mind, they never want Nigeria as a country. They never championed what? Nigeria to be a country. Rather, it's a what? It's Anthony Enehoro who moved the motion for Nigeria to gain independence. Indeed, the same place that the Sultan, Sir Ahmed Bello, was championing break away from Nigeria. People are championing break away. You are championing. That is why the people of Yoruba and the so-called the old founding fathers of Nigeria, they are all senseless people. And that is why when the senseless will build their nation, that is why we are where we are today. That is why you are seeing all that is happening today. That is the reason why we are seeing all these things. Nothing. Because of the people that are supposed to adhere to the important instruction refused to. Now, it was here we are going to get down to this program where the founding fathers, and in the year there was that the worst mistake is the amalgamation of Nigeria in 1914. That is a mistake. And the mistake, that is why people are dying. That is why they are killing people. That is why all this you are seeing today is happening. That is why. Look at it. Calling for Nigeria to have independence, become one country, started from the southerners, not the northern region. Not from them, because they never want. They feel there is a fear in their life that if Nigeria is having as a country, that because of the level of education from the old eastern region and the south and from the Yorubas, the Duduwa people, that they are going to suppress them until something happens. Listen.
2. The Northern Amendment. Ahmadu Bello and other northern leaders amended it to say independence should come as soon as practicable, fearing the North wasn't ready.
Yeah, that they are not ready for independence, but they are ready for breakaway because they are afraid. Today, they are the one from the North championing. If you know what I'm talking about to divide Nigeria, they will bring cutlass to put on that person's neck because of what? That they are benefiting from it right now. America, this is why this is not a country. The areas you have, everything has happened to who the amalgamation has expired. Nigeria is expiring medication. Nigeria is expiring food that will cause you a food poison. Nigeria becomes a poison to the indigenous people. That is why you must allow Biafran people. That is why you have to organize us. We have given you the power to do that. Through our peaceful declaration of the first of this 21st century law, that every new country, that they should not go into armed struggle, that they should use a peaceful declaration to go into diplomatic recognition, legal movement, political pressure, and all. And that is what people of the United State of Biafra is doing at this point. Please, as usual, please, you can hit the like button. If the first time there is a 3 dots on your right hand side, just click on that 3 dot, it will open. You will see like and share. And also when you share, you subscribe. What we do here is a historical event. All the histories that is the document that was being hidden since we was born is what we are pulling out for us to know that this thing called Nigeria is not a country and it can never be.
The humiliation. Northern members were booed and insulted by mobs in Lagos. Amadou Bello famously stated, "The mistake of 1914 has come to light," referring to the British amalgamation of the North and South. 4.
They say that this amalgamation is what? That is a mistake. When you do something with a mistake, the repercussion is there. So the mistake of this amalgamation of one Nigeria is what? The amalgamation is what? It's a mistake by Sir Ahmed Bello. He is the one in 1953 who called for breakaway, that they don't want North to be a part of Nigeria. Not me, not Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, not Simon Ebanjoko, not Chukwuemeka Odimegwu, not Wazirike. But it started from, we only wanted to help them to accomplish their mission. And we must do that. We already done that already through our peaceful declaration. Sir Ahmed Bello, you know him very well. He is the one from the northern region who called for what? A separatist separation, breakaway, that they don't want the name called one Nigeria. They don't want to be under it. And that is why he said, after what happened in Lagos, he said in Lagos in 1953 that the mistake of 1914 has come to limelight, that Nigeria can never be a country. That is a mistake by a white man. That is why people are dying today. Any expiring something was meant to kill. Once medication expired, the outside effect is another different thing. When you eat a food that expired, you will have food in your stomach. That is what we call a food poison. Nigeria is a food poison to the entire world. To a Christian countries in the world, Nigeria becomes what? Nigeria becomes a food poison. That is what Nigeria is, whether they like it or not. A mistake-created country. That is why people are dying in numbers today. America, you know that this mistake is why people are being pied every day. Why Benue State is bleeding. Why northern areas are bleeding. Why Biafran is bleeding till today. They do their own on our own side through our brothers and use armor tanker and helicopter. And they think they will level us. If you never level us in 1967 to 1970, you will not do that again. The time has gone. We're only trying to make it, let the world know that this expired country that the founding fathers called expired, that they said is a mistake country, that if they actually refuse to adhere to the issue of breaking up Nigeria, that Somaliland is better than Nigeria. Today, Somaliland is better than Nigeria. The numbers of ongoing things that happen in Nigeria today is not happening in Somaliland. Let's continue.
8-point program. In May 1953, the Northern House of Assembly passed a resolution known as the 8-point program. This was essentially a declaration of secession in all but name.
They demand openly in the House of Assembly, they pass bill of what? 8-point agenda. In that 8-point agenda, one of the most important points there is what? The secession. That they make it as a declaration that they don't want the name called Nigeria. They want to break away. Who lead that movement? Sir Ahmed Bello was the one who lead the movement of breakaway of that Nigeria is not a country. From 1953, they started the movement. And today, people of Biafra decided that we don't want to belong here. And Sir Ahmed Bello, who started it, was he in prison? Was he tagged terrorist? Was he been arrested? Was he sent to life imprisonment? Or did anybody arrested his men who protest openly and those who went to the House of Rep and House of Representatives? They went into all these organizations to prove that they don't want Nigeria as a country. The question should be, why did the letter accepted? Let's continue first.
Demanded complete executive and legislative autonomy for the North, a central authority that handled
They
only
want autonomy for them to be free, not to be seen as those that are being controlled by the name called One Nigeria. The same that Supreme Gojuku later asked in 1967 to 1970 in Abuja Accord. Let everybody stay on their own. That leads to war. Chukwuemeka Odumegwu did not call for break a secession of Nigeria like the way Sir Ahmed Bello did. He only called for autonomy. Let every people take what they have, control their people, and give some percent in Abuja, like it is in America. That is what leads to the Biafran war, nothing more than that. Chukwuemeka did not pull out, go to House of Representatives, go to House of Assembly, and present a document of separatist movement. But who does that? Who do that in the past? That was Ahmed Bello, 1953. He did. What we are doing today, what Master Cana is doing today to make this dream a reality, that Nigeria is not a country. And we have already done that. No matter what you think and how you see it, we know what we are doing.
common services like railways and the post office. No central cabinet or ministers with power over the North.
Are you hearing it? In that 8-point agenda, they said that they will give them railway if they want them to stay. There must be autonomy of their own. And they say that there is no central authority to hand it over, or less only in the North, that the North should hold the power. That this is, look at the 8-point program they handled. In that 8-point agenda meeting or presentation, that is when they killed Nigeria. That is when they take this what we are seeing here today. In that they give option. If they don't want us to break away, you must give us railway. You must be the one in control. There will be no other autonomy except we are going to be in charge. That is what you are seeing today. That is what you are seeing all this happening today. Because of with I don't know what people think when they allow them to take over. Can't you see that? Let's go. Now they said no central cabinet or minister with the power over the North. But today they have power over the Southeast. They have power over all the states in Nigeria today. But for the North, have you seen it? 1953 that they start this movement you are seeing today, that they will be the one that be in power, not you. And that is what's happening today. That is why in America to know this is not a country that's allowing it to continue. Look at it today. Muslim ticket. President Muslim. Vice Muslim. What does it prove to you? That you are into Sharia law country, whether you like it or not.
Summary table. Key detail. Information. Primary year, 1953. Lead figure, Sir Amadou Bello, the Sardana of Sokoto.
So as Sir Ahmed Bello, the Sardana of Sokoto, lead the movement of the separatist movement, break away from Nigeria, that nobody should have power over them, that they are going to be the one that will be in power.
Movement name, Araba, Hausa for separate, legal.
Can you hear it? The movement, why the movement is all about separatists. They want to be a separate power. and today. That is what British handed over to them. You know, after this, they are now come from 1953 down to 1970 independent, and why British handed over because of this document. That is why British handed Nigeria over to the Fulanese, to jihadist movement, to Sudan of Sokoto, and that is where the Islamization started. That is where Sharia law started. So for America to come and tell them to remove it, you know, it's not possible. The only easiest way to maintain peace is allow the indigenous people for them to live on their own.
Document, the 8-point program. Second peak, 1966, following the January coup and during the July counter-coup.
I hope you heard it. The coup was not to be on their own. If you don't know, I want to know it today. The coup is not what you think. In 1966, they continued their movement of what? We want to break away from Nigeria. Why the Yorubas and the Igbos are the one who try to claim one Nigeria. And that's what you see on the social media. They have really captured their mind. Now they are the one doing the talking, but they are the one doing the action, clean their people. In Yoruba land, are they not clean people today? Are they not beheading people in Yoruba land today? America, Nigeria is not a country. There is nothing like territorial integrity of Nigeria. It's a time to let the will of people to be done. It's a time to start to accomplish that mission. That's the people that are supposed to do it, they fail, and we are here to accomplish that mission, to make it right. To agree, we have agreed in the words of Sir Ahmed Bello. We have agreed the word of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Sorry, Mazi. We have agreed on the words of Nnamdi Azikiwe. We have agreed on the Tafawa Balewas. These are men who said that Nigeria is not a country. America did it. Your forefathers said that America is not a country. They said that this is a mistake country. Did they say that? That is why the only way to create the mistake is adhere to the instruction. Divide Nigeria according to the tribal line. Let everybody go. Let everybody go and take care of themselves. It will end. You will be at rest. You will not be fighting Turkey. You will not be fighting Iran. You will not be fighting Venezuela. All these countries we are fighting for. For how many do you want to do that? Donald Trump, when you are not there, what will be the belief of these people? What will be the life of Christians? That is the question we're asking. What is going to be the life? Let the Congressman of America go down to the history of Nigeria. Start from 1804. Come into the 1953. Then you will understand why Nigeria is not a country. If you read all this on research, you will find out that you were disgraced by calling yourself, accepting that you are one Nigeria. Honestly. We are not going to start the movement. You had it here. Chukwuemeka Onoji was 1967. Sir Ahmed Bello was when? 1953 to 1966. 1966. After that, Chukwuemeka Onoji starts the movement of Biafra. 1967.
The 1966 resurgence. It is also worth noting that in July 1966, Northern soldiers and leaders again pushed for secession following the first military coup. The slogan of the July counter-coup was Araba, and the original plan was to pull the North out of Nigeria. However, they were eventually persuaded to stay after realizing the economic disadvantages of being a landlocked nation without the emerging oil wealth of the South. Would you like to look at the specific language?
I hope you pay attention here. It is also worth noting that in July 1966, the Northern soldiers and the leaders again pushed for secession. The main problem, the main important issue of the 1966 coup was what? Secession, following the first military coup. Of the July counter coup was Araba, and the original plan was to pull the North out of Nigeria. North, why today? Why are you not pulling out again? Why are you the one who masterminded that Nigeria is the one country? Not. You that in 1953, 1966, that are championing about that you don't want Nigeria as a country, that you want to pull out. Now, why they did not pull out? Listen to where British come inside. Listen. However, they were eventually pushed to stay after realizing the economy disadvantage of being a landlocked nation without the emerging oil wealth of the South. Do you see why they come back? Today, they are Donald Trump. The only reason why they're championing one Nigeria is because of oil, nothing more than that. If there is no oil in the Biafran land, if there is no cocoa, nobody will answer one Nigeria. Not that are championing to pull out. When British called them meeting in London, I will get you to that maybe tomorrow morning or next day. When the British called for them to be separated, what happened? They separated. They said no, that we don't want to pull out again. They look at people that are into the landlocked are the one calling those that are into a landlocked that we are using it to confuse many of you. The North are the one into the landlocked, not the Biafran people. Not the Biafran people. However, they were eventually pushed to stay. Who pushed them? The British. British pushed them to stay, and they realized the economy disadvantage. This is not our claims that they are the richest in Nigeria. Can you see that? They are not. They created Nigeria because of the oil from the southeast to use it to pay debt and build the north. That is what happened today. America, is it where you want us to stay? Is it where you want your fellow Christians to stay? America, is it where you want us to stay? For how long? Are you keeping this silent? For how long that this that you're doing? When do you want it to end it up? When? We are not the one started the separatist movement in Nigeria. The North is the one who started the separatist movement in Nigeria. We want to only help them to actualize their dream. So you can have what you have on your own. I will have my own. Why are you refusing? When the North when the British told them disadvantage of them because of economy, that the Southeast are the richest, that the Eastern region are the richest because of the oil. They now come back, they realize the advantage, and they are into landlocked. They come back. This is the pure history of Nigeria. I will allow you to listen again before shutting the program down.
Language of the 8-point program to see how it aligns with modern concepts of sovereignty or confederation.
Listen to this. Join us tomorrow as we continue.
The northern region's formal move towards secession primarily occurred in 1953, and the leader who spearheaded this movement was...
Remember also the Q, the Tagibo Q, is Q of them to do what? To separate away from Nigeria.
Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardona of Sokoto. While there were several moments of tension, the 1953 crisis is historically recognized as the first time the North legally and publicly moved to break away from the Nigerian Union. The leader, Sir Ahmadu Bello, was the premier of the northern region and the leader of the Northern People's Congress, NPC. He was the most powerful political figure in the North and was deeply concerned that a unified Nigeria would lead to southern domination because of the educational and administrative gap between the regions. The key events of 1953. The movement for secession, often called the Araba sentiment, was triggered by a specific event in the House of Representatives. 1. The self-government motion. Southern leader Anthony Anahoro moved a motion for Nigeria to gain independence in 1956. 2. The Northern Amendment. Ahmadu Bello and other northern leaders amended it to say independence should come as soon as practicable, fearing the North wasn't ready. 3. The humiliation. Northern members were booed and insulted by mobs in Lagos. Ahmadu Bello famously stated, "The mistake of 1914 has come to light," referring to the British amalgamation of the North and South. 4. The 8-point program. In May 1953, the Northern House of Assembly passed a resolution known as the 8-point program. This was essentially a declaration of secession in all but name. It demanded complete executive and legislative autonomy for the North, a central authority that handled only common services like railways and the post office, no central cabinet or ministers with power over the North. Summary table. Key detail. Information. Primary year, 1953. Lead figure, Sir Ahmadu Bello, the Sardana of Sokoto, movement name, Araba, Hausa for separate, legal document, the 8-point program, second peak, 1966, following the January coup and during the July counter-coup. The 1966 resurgence. It is also worth noting that in July 1966, Northern soldiers and leaders again pushed for secession following the first military coup. The slogan of the July counter-coup was Araba, and the original plan was to pull the North out of Nigeria. However, they were eventually persuaded to stay after realizing the economic disadvantages of being a landlocked nation without the emerging oil wealth of the South. Would you like to look at the specific language of the 8-point program to see how it aligns with modern concepts of sovereignty or confederation?
I hope you heard it clearly. This is exactly what happened. And that is why I want you to know that we let the world to know that the only option is to this mistake to be. The only way to correct this mistake is let Biafran people go. Let the North take their Nigeria. There was even the first people who pushed that Nigeria can never be, that they don't want to remain under one Nigeria. But when they hear there is oil in the old eastern region, they turn back to claim one Nigeria till today. They are claiming it because of the oil world they have in the oil positions they have in the south. That is why they are shouting one Nigeria, nothing more than that. If there is no oil today, nobody will come and claim one Nigeria. One Nigeria is because of oil. That is why people are dying. And today they have told us that the only way they can be control of that oil by Islamizing everybody. America, stand by your people. Set your people free. Donald Trump, set your people. Now you are here. God will bring you back to accomplish this mission. If you did not accomplish that mission, God will ask you why. You believe in heaven. God will ask Donald Trump, why did you not accomplish the mission I sent you? Forget the politics of money you are playing. It is not about money, but it's about your honor. It's about giving the next generation, the next decade to come, the generation, giving them life to live. And history will not forget you. But if you continuously play in this politics we are playing this time around, you and Israel and Canada, it's not going to be funny. God will question all of you. And remember that sometimes God will send you, when you refuse to do that mission, the repercussion might come back to you and your people. Donald Trump, this is the only time God sends you to do what? To accept what I am going to play, a peaceful declaration of USB we are declared. That is the only solution to end all this. The solution to end all this is to accept, and now that we have give you power, we have give you the power, we have give you the mandate to allow Biafra to stay as a country. That is the only way. Then we will help you to end the ongoing genocide that is happening in Nigeria in this 21st century, which are not supposed to be there. We have met every criteria you asked us to meet. We have done it through Geneva Convention. We have done it through Montevideo Convention. We have done it through the UN Charter and all the articles, through a government in exile. The question we are asking is the question of what you need. We have answered you and give you an answer by how. Recognize Biafra as a sovereign nation and give us what it takes to defend ourselves is in your hand. We are the Christian country.
The question of whether a government in exile, GIE, can achieve international recognition in the 21st century through peaceful declaration and legal framework, rather than military force, is a complex intersection of international law and global politics. While the Montevideo Convention 1933 traditionally requires a permanent population and defined territory, modern international law has evolved to allow for functional recognition under specific circumstances. 1. The legal framework, Geneva Conventions and beyond. The Geneva Conventions primarily govern the conduct of armed conflict, but Protocol 1, 1977, expanded recognition to include movements fighting against colonial domination, alien occupation, and racist regimes. In a 21st century context, a peaceful GIE typically relies on the principle of legitimacy. Recognition often shifts from who controls the land to who has the legal or democratic right to represent the people. The Guaido model. This recent precedent showed that over 50 nations could recognize a political leader as a legitimate head of state, even without physical control of government buildings, based on constitutional legitimacy. The right to self-determination. This is a UN-recognized collective right. If a movement can prove it represents the genuine will of a people through peaceful means, it gains significant moral and legal standing. 2. Paths to recognition without military force. For a peaceful GIE to move from a movement to a recognized entity, several diplomatic milestones are usually required. Bilateral recognition. Individual host nations or sympathetic allies formally recognize the GIE's diplomatic passports or establish representative offices. UN observer status. While full UN membership requires statehood, organizations like the PLO or the Sovereign Order of Malta have achieved various levels of permanent observer status, granting them a voice in international forums. Asymmetric legal diplomacy. This involves using international courts, like the ICJ or ICC, and human rights tribunals to challenge the legitimacy of the occupying or opposing power, effectively winning on paper before winning on the ground. 3. Challenges to sovereignty. Despite peaceful declarations, two major hurdles remain. Factor. Description. Effective control. Most hesitant to recognize a GIE if they believe the group has no path to ever exercising actual administrative control over the territory. Political interest. Recognition is rarely a purely legal decision. It is often a geopolitical one. States weigh their existing trade and security relationships with the current de facto government. Summary of modern recognition. In the 21st century, the trend is moving toward reductive sovereignty, where an entity is treated as a state for legal and diplomatic purposes, such as signing treaties or managing assets, even if it lacks a physical capital. Success depends less on military force and more on sustained diplomatic presence, administrative structure, such as a cabinet and constitution, and international lobbying. Would you like to analyze a specific historical example of a peaceful government in exile that successfully gained diplomatic credentials?
America, this is a solution of Nigeria. This is a solution to ongoing genocide that is happening in Nigeria. This is recognition we are looking for now that we have made a peaceful declaration. We have finished what you call external remedial secession. We have finished it through our peaceful declaration. That is why we are asking you to do what? Recognize Biafra as a country, and through recognition, then we will solve all this problem. My people, we are going to end it up here until you come back in the next few hours again. Thank you so much for being here, and please like and share the program. Thank you.